Check news. Doctor Strange 3 will probably be released sooner than expected, DC denies the alleged work on Wonder Woman 3, and Rapunzel will probably be the next Disney remake. Well, a great opportunity to talk about the Snow White shitstorm. This and more awaits you on this week's Keynote Check News. There's been no end to the hatred. Since the announcement of Disney's remake of Snow White, there has been a hail of criticism. Now leading actress Rachel Zegler is once again being the focus of hostility. Criticism often centers on the casting of actress Rachel Zegler, who, due to her Colombian roots, would not have the Snow White skin color that defines the character. Now follows another round of accusations. Many are reproaching the actress of despising the original story and thus being unsuitable for the role. A video from 2022 is circulating on the web in which the actress was critical of the animated version. Zegler told Entertainment Weekly at the time that she was not a fan of the original. In an interview with Variety, she pointed out that the original was a product of 1937, and that some things would thus be done differently. For instance, Snow White is no longer being rescued by a prince. She also no longer dreams of true love, but of following in her late father's footsteps as a leader. She told Extra TV that she found the original odd in parts, as it focused too much on the love story between Snow White and the prince, who would literally stalk her. The actress added, however, that as a small child, she was once frightened by a ride at Disney World, and therefore no longer dared to watch the animated film. As a result, videos are currently making the rounds on TikTok that take her statements out of context and accuse her of outright hating the story. Likewise, Zegler's participation in the actor strike caused resentment, in which the actress explicitly turned against her employer Disney. She said, "If I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, then I deserve to get paid for every hour that it's streamed online." Here, Zegler addresses the core demand of the strikers, namely a more just payment in the era of streaming exploitation. This new shitstorm is likely to meet with little reaction from Disney. After all, this is not the first time that the company has had to put up with hostility in response to its live-action adaptations of well-known Disney princesses. Disney is consciously pursuing the strategy of reviving old stories in a more contemporary and diverse guise. The remake of The Little Mermaid has likewise been met with accusations based on the color of the actress's skin. Snow White will be released in theaters on March 24th, 2024. What do you guys think about the remakes of famous Disney classics? Let's have a good discussion in the comments. The back and forth around the Wonder Woman sequel goes on and on. Barely was Wonder Woman 3 confirmed by leading actress Gal Gadot, everything is now different again. According to multiple sources at DC, the project is not in the works, contrary to Gadot's statements. Since the takeover of DC by James Gunn and Peter Safran, the future of Wonder Woman was considered unsure. First, the project was cancelled under the new director of Patty Jenkins. Then Gal Gadot recently stated that the movie was in development with her. Gunn and Safran had assured her that she was in the best hands, that they would develop Wonder Woman 3 with her, and that she had nothing to worry about. Naturally, it's a bitter pill to swallow when this is directly denied by DC. Apparently, the DC bosses don't even have plans for another sequel. This news was first reported by Collider, and then confirmed by several trade magazines. Except for Paradise Lost, a prequel series at HBO Max, there will be no notable Wonder Woman projects in the near future. The character will of course appear in the DCU again at some point. After all, she is a regular part of the Justice League. However, an appearance by Gal Gadot seems doubtful at the moment. The actress did express her continued interest in the role, still it remains uncertain whether she will actually be cast in it. The example of Henry Cavill as Superman shows that being interested in returning doesn't always go hand in hand with actually being cast. Fans can nevertheless look forward to the prequel series, Paradise Lost. Unlike the solo movies, the series has a set plan and will introduce us to the island of Themyscira, where the mighty Amazons live. The plot takes place long before the most famous Amazon is born. Doctor Strange is likely to make his return sooner than expected. According to rumors in Doctor Strange 3, he will lay the crucial groundwork for the further Avengers movies. In 2022, Marvel released the second part of its Doctor Strange film series and achieved financial success. Starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange 2 was particularly appealing due to its horror direction and set a completely new tone in the MCU. Of course, this is probably also due to director Sam Raimi, who shaped the genre with his Evil Dead movies and was seen as the perfect choice for the sequel. Part 2 ended with a cliffhanger where we see Doctor Strange grow a third eye on his forehead. Since then, fans have been eagerly awaiting further appearances of the popular character and a possible sequel. This now seems to happen in the near future. The website The Cosmic Circus, which is a reliable source of information regarding Marvel, has reported that a third installment could be in the works fairly soon. And that's not all. The movie is supposed to set things up for Avengers 5 and Avengers 6, and is based on a very specific comic book that should be well known to connoisseurs. The talk is of Time Runs Out. The comic series focuses on the battle of various Avengers teams against these so-called incursions, which have already been mentioned frequently in the MCU movies. These are multiversal catastrophes in which several universes collide with each other. In the comic series written by Jonathan Hickman, almost all realities are wiped out by incursions. However, since the movie is primarily another Doctor Strange adventure, the character is likely to be given more emphasis than the other superheroes. Of course, the new main villain Kang is responsible for the decay of the universe. However, the Cosmic Circus is speculating on whether he will also appear as a variant in the film. Specific information on the production of Doctor Strange 3 is sadly not yet known. The progress will depend, like so many others, on how the current situation around the strikes in Hollywood will develop in the coming weeks or months. We'll keep you updated, as always. There's no end in sight. Disney continues to devote its attention to live-action adaptations of its animated classics. This time, it'll be a successful movie that is actually not all that old. In addition to the filming of Snow White with Rachel Zegler in the leading role and Gal Gadot as the evil stepmother, Disney is now tackling the next remake project. It's rumored that the company is planning a live-action adaptation of Tangled, which kicked off a new era of computer-animated Disney princesses in 2010. According to Hollywood insiders, the company is already looking at a very specific actress who could play Rapunzel. The talk is of Florence Pugh, who is considered one of Hollywood's very big talents. The Oscar-animated actress has already featured in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer this year, and is also part of the upcoming science fiction epic Dune Part 2. So she has plenty of experience and acting talent. Whether Pugh herself is interested in the role, though, is not known. It also remains unclear if and when the movie will be released. However, the next Disney remake is bound to result in heated discussions one way or another. Trash fans, listen up. Legendary Pictures has given us a first look at the reboot of the trash classic The Toxic Avenger. This time, Game of Thrones star Peter Dinklage will embody the monstrous hero. The trash movie The Toxic Avenger, released in 1984, tells the story of Melvin, who is completely deformed by an accident involving radioactive waste, and therefore fights the evil of his city as the Toxic Avenger, alias Toxie. The film is one of the great classics of its genre, and it's still considered the mascot of the independent film production company Troma, where James Gunn gained his first experiences as a director and screenwriter. Since the franchise has been around for a few years now, the announcement of a planned reboot might come as a bit of a surprise. The image shows Dinklage wielding a bright green mop as a weapon and standing in the frame of a kicked-in door. Likewise, a poster was published showing the film's logo. Directed by Macon Blair, the movie presents us with Peter Dinklage as well as other well-known names, such as Jacob Tremblay, Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, and Julia Davis, who will all be part of the cast. The eagerly anticipated reboot will celebrate its premiere at Fantastic Fest in Texas, and should, just like its predecessors, convince with plenty of violence and disgust. Now it's your turn. Which of our topics affected you the most this week? Let us know in the comments. And if you're still looking for more content, check out our new Kino Check original, in which we introduce you to Marvel's Thunderbolts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week with more Kino Check news.